Good morning, good life. Welcome back to AmyTV, where we come together to help you go after the life that you want. If you're feeling let down and that life isn't necessarily going your way, it's time to change that. One of my least favorite phrases to hear out of someone's mouth is, "I'm disappointed in you." This is probably why I am a rule-following upholder. Thank you, Gretchen Rubin. You can probably identify with this a little bit. Even if you don't care what people think, it's kind of crazy to hear someone say it, especially when you don't feel like anything you did merited it. Meanwhile, you can probably name on two hands or more the number of people that you're disappointed in right now. Even if you didn't actually announce it to them, like, "I'm disappointed in you." You know, you're like, okay, I can think of a few people. When you're disappointed, either by someone who directly disappointed you or a circumstance that happened involving people that disappointed you, it's easy to feel let down by that and to let it make you feel down because, in fact, you are quite disappointed. The key here is, how do you keep it from being debilitating? That's what I want to talk about today. Let's put our disappointment in check and take the power back. Before we get into today's discussion, I have to give a little Twitter gratitude. And today that shout out goes out to, it's Fiona McGuire. Fiona, thank you so much for tuning into these videos. I appreciate you more than you know. It is so cool. I acknowledge you for the time and attention it takes to watch this stuff, and also for retweeting the video when it came out. If you would potentially like a shout out here on Twitter gratitude, all you have to do is follow me on Twitter and retweet my latest video when it comes out so I can randomly select you. So the reason I wanted to make this video is that, sure, I experience a lot of disappointment. In fact, I think I've had so much disappointment in my life that I have figured out how to weigh priorities here so it is not stopping me from going after the life that I want. So I wanted to share what that thought process is for me so that maybe this could be helpful for you if you're putting a little bit too much weight in disappointment and how it's showing up in your life. First and foremost, usually terrible disappointment means you have terribly high expectations. I personally believe that high expectations are a great way to always be disappointed. I know that sounds bad, like we want to have high expectations in people and things and opportunities, but it's actually, when you think about it, you can have some expectations, but high expectations, you're putting it on a pedestal. Like, where else does it have to go but down? Low expectations are just kind of stupid. Like, setting low expectations is like, what does that even mean? That sounds like the biggest waste of time, biggest waste of brain space. Like, let's just go into it a little bit differently. And I personally think that going into things with no expectations is a great way to start. Everyone starts at zero, so let's start something with zero expectations. And I truly, truly believe that allowing everyone to start at zero, allowing everything to start at zero, has given me the chance to survive the day-to-day and not be disappointed so often. Because you know what it feels like when you are so disappointed you don't want to do something, when you're so hurt, when you're so dejected, when you're so sad about something, that the only reason that you are is because you thought or assumed or expected it to go another way. I really believe that going into as many things with zero expectations as possible has allowed me to go whenever it doesn't go right and move on. Because there actually is no right when you have zero expectations. I mean, that's arguable. It really depends on what we're talking about. I think the advantage I have in this situation is where I've come from with disappointment. I have finally landed at this moment in my life, in this season, and hopefully for many seasons, because I think it's going to be beneficial. I know the world owes me nothing, absolutely nothing. When you don't just think that, it's not just an affirmation. That's kind of like the most depressing affirmation ever, by the way. But when you really actually believe it, I believe you work harder to make things happen. You're more consistent in making things happen. You're not so focused on goals all the time that the process is less enjoyable. And then you're pleasantly surprised when something a little above average, meaning above zero, happens. When you have high expectations of something or people or a circumstance or an opportunity, you give it all of your power. And I'm not a power-hungry person, but I don't like to give away the power that I have. Specifically, the power I have that is the most important to me is the power over my own emotions. Because it can completely change how I proceed in my morning, in my day, and when that compounds, that's a lifetime. And it's not 100% possible to keep that control. You're still going to have things that emotionally rock you off your frickin' boat. And you're like, how is this happening to me? I not only had zero expectations, but I never saw it coming. That is stuff that you can't avoid. That disappointment's going to happen. So why are you going to add on top of it additional disappointment? Things that you were able to see coming, things you were able to organize in your mind, the order of importance. When you treat life and the things that could be like guarantees, that is the quickest way to disappointment. Specifically when you're disappointed by an individual person, when you hand that person all of your emotional power, you have given them the authority to do whatever they want with it. And if they were too scared to tell you the truth in person, or maybe they just didn't know how it was gonna go and you're looking at them to be the blame, you made that happen. That was not them. And it's really hard to accept that responsibility, but that's the quickest way to preventing disappointment, is to start accepting responsibility, to start looking at things that went wrong like they are your fault. That's why they tell people like me, business owners, that if an employee doesn't do something quite right, that's on me. I didn't train her properly. If a client doesn't understand what the problem is, then that's on me. I didn't explain it properly. We didn't put the systems in place. We didn't do the right steps. Really understanding where this is actually coming from is going to help you significantly to take your mind off disappointment, because you're gonna figure out where the earlier issues are. You've probably got something in your mind right now that's disappointing to you. I want you to think about something else. You've got that disappointment. I want you to think of, now what? For instance, let's say somebody posted something on social media that you don't approve of, but you don't really know them that well. You just happen to follow them because they maybe did something cool at one point in time in their life. Now what? What they said affects your life zero. Move on. Let it go. You're letting all of their words have so much power, specifically during that time when you're letting your brain take a break and allowing a social media feed to get you thinking in a certain direction. If you must unfollow, absolutely unfollow. By all means, unfollow. I have said this in the past. Unfollowing people doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a focused person. And it's also going to make you a less disappointed person when you stop absorbing the information of people who are not exactly setting the tone you want. You're actually now the smarter person because you're stopping that person's words from coming into your space and triggering you. Boom. That's huge. Maybe you're disappointed today because you didn't get the job. You thought it was a sure thing. A sure thing. Woo! High expectations there, buddy. The HR rep was smiling like crazy. Your work is very impressive. You had amazing energy, and somebody else got it. Now what? Are you gonna put your walls up and never trust another smiling interviewer ever again? Nope, you're not, because you need a job. Try zero expectations. Enjoy the smiles, enjoy the conversation, enjoy the learning experience. Because the next time, if you don't get the job, you gotta look for trends. You've gotta find the thing that makes it on you. Here's the pro tip here with getting the job. If the consistent trend is that somebody got it whose dad knows the owner or whatever the situation is, still on you. Guess why? They had an edge. Where do you have the edge? That's where you should be looking. It's very easy to blame people with access until you become a person of access and resourcefulness to use that access. What are you doing to go the extra mile? Also, go find another job. Please keep going. Stewing in disappointment isn't helping anybody. You can be as right gets. You could be the rightest person in this situation, and you'll still be wrong. Because being the right person in an argument when no one else is around you because you're too disappointed to surround yourself with new opportunities or people who you shouldn't have had super high expectations of in the first place is not a fun life. Go in with zero expectations and watch how fast the world will impress you. Not only is everyone and everything going to be more impressive to you, you're going to impress yourself. That is a mindset shift that could change everything. Absolutely everything that you consider wrong with your life. If you're ready to step up your expectations of yourself, but not be more disappointed, but make the most of every moment, I highly recommend you check out Shine Squad. We are having so much fun over there. Lots of tips about productivity and waking up on the right side of the bed the way that you want to, not the way that everybody tells you you should. This is a space for people who actually care about improving their own lives and surrounding themselves with those who think the same. Check out the details in the description below. Let's share what we learned today in a tweetable. If you expect nothing from anybody, you're never disappointed. Sylvia Plath. All right, I want to hear from you. Seriously, I know you were disappointed today. What disappointed you today, and how can we reverse it? Share that in the comments below. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Make sure you subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life you want. Cheers.